Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Wendy Chen. Thank you for joining us. Coming up in today's show, we join Tzu Chi volunteers in Myanmar as they hand out stationery to 3,151 students in Ma Yangon No. 1 High School. 3 years after Typhoon Morakot, Shaolin village survivors are coming together to rebuild their lives through creating their own brand. And the 37 overseas Jinsu books and cafe are bringing stressed citizens around the world a peace of mind. For 4 consecutive years, Myanmar Tzu Chi volunteers have regularly visited the Ma Yangon No. 1 High School in Yangon to distribute stationery to needy students. Items included pens, exercise books and school bags. This time, 3,151 students received stationery.
Papatun and her siblings are on the street selling fried pancakes. They have to sell 21 of them before they are able to afford one exercise book. Life is hard. There's no money to buy stationery. Once my youngest daughter wanted to buy an exercise book, and she cried and complained for the whole night. Later, when I realized that it's too much of a mess when she uses one exercise book for all her subjects, I reluctantly had to buy her one. Papatun's family of 6 lives in a 13 square meter small house. 1 year ago, her father died, making life even more difficult at home. The school bag is broken and can't be used anymore. But since there's no money at home, she has no choice but to fix it and continue to use it.
I would really love to have a new one, but there is no money at home and it would be a burden for my mother, so I just stick with the old one.
Many students are from low-income families, and though the study environment is far from perfect, the students' desire to learn is strong. This is the 4th year Tzu Chi volunteers are distributing school items, including pens, exercise books, and school bags, which is a dream come true for Papatun. Normally, they use bags made out of cloth, which costs about $4 US. Many families can't afford that. When it rains, they break easily and don't protect the school items inside. So this year, we wanted to distribute quality school bags for the children to use.
I really needed this stationery. Now I don't have to buy any exercise books or pens anymore. It takes the burden off my mother. So I'm really thankful to Tzu Chi.
The stationery can lessen the financial burden of the parents, and since the children are now finally able to study without worries, smiles are showing on their faces.
After the July downpour that caused immense destruction in the Fangshan district of Beijing, China, last week Tzu Chi volunteers distributed aid supplies and blankets to help 5,000 households. This time around, they visited the towns of Sidu, Zhangfang and Dashiwo in Fangshan district and followed up on the local government's reconstruction plan.
Tzu Chi volunteers show their care to the residents as if they are greeting old friends.
We were surprised when it was flooding, and then we felt horrified, but we feel much better now.
After a recent aid distribution, Tzu Chi volunteers visited Fangshan district once again to bring care to residents. They also visited the local government to follow up on the progress of the reconstruction.
Sidu town has a karst topography, which means the geological formation is fragile, either raining or not. We plan to relocate 620 households and carry out a permanent reconstruction work.
After the disaster, the region has become inhabitable. Therefore, the local government is planning on building temporary housing for residents free of charge.
Every house is 40 square meters and has beds inside. In terms of daily necessities, it depends on individual needs.
Tzu Chi volunteers survey the location of every temporary house in hope to provide the greatest assistance for the flood victims by facilitating cooperation between the local government and Tzu Chi.
the third anniversary of Typhoon Morakot, the government of Kaohsiung City and Pingtung County held press conferences not only to promote their specialties to the public, but also to thank the organizations that helped build permanent housings, including Tzu Chi.
In 2009, Typhoon Morakot devastated southern Taiwan. Today, the disaster victims expressed their thanks to the public by putting on a traditional performance.
The power of the government is limited, and the power of the citizens can be large. Tzu Chi Foundation's Du Junyan is here with us today. We thank Tzu Chi.
After the disaster, 1,253 permanent houses were built. In just 88 days, Tzu Chi Foundation built nearly 600 houses, breaking a world record. Today, the government of Kaohsiung presented awards to other organizations and corporations that helped build the homes. A book on the aftermath of the disasters was also published to encourage the victims to move on. Meanwhile, the government of Pingtung County also held a press conference remembering the disaster. The government focused on bringing area's local specialties to market and also restoring the ecosystem.
We want to grow some plants on the original ground to help with the conservation of water and soil at the same time as we generate income.
We have set up offices at the Ali tribe and Xiamu tribe. We hope they can come to us when they need help.
It has been 3 years since Typhoon Morakot devastated southern Taiwan, in which 6,000 households were forced to move. Thankfully, the love and care of society has never left them.
In 2009, the entire village of Xiaoling was wiped out by a mudslide during the 8.8 flood that killed nearly 500 villagers. Grieved by their loss, family members of the disaster victims decided to return home and rebuild their lives. Today, we go back to Kaohsiung's Xiaoling village to see how residents are recovering from the disaster.
To become independent, I think it is not difficult for those with determination and a clear goal if you are willing to tell yourself that I have a goal that I want to achieve.
Getting ready to deliver an order to Kaohsiung is 31-year-old Wang Mingliang, who used to work as a chemist in the city. A year after the 8.8 flood, he returned home to become a baker.
A job opportunity like this gives me spiritual comfort and helps me rebuild my life. Only when I am stronger emotionally will I be able to have the strength to move forward. If not, when coming across a disaster like this, to come back here and make great achievements will require some time.
This is what our Xiaoling villagers have been planting, and we hope to promote this worldwide.
Chen Huiling has been taking part in Xiaoling's reconstruction program since Typhoon Morakot and is leading the women in the village in making handmade soaps.
Let's imagine that tomorrow we won't even have 1 cent of government subsidy. Are we still able to make ends meet? If we don't have such determination, even if the government provides us with 10 years of funding, it won't mean anything.
Director of Xiaoling's Reconstruction Development Association, Cai Songyu, gave up his high-paid job in Taipei 3 years ago to return to his hometown that was flattened in a mudslide. Cai hopes through creating his own brand that he can help his people get back on their feet.
When we have accomplished our goal, we hope not only to provide job opportunities to the locals, but to reciprocate to society. There will be more disaster coming where we will need to give a helping hand. It is something we must do.
Still on the path to recovery, Xiaoling residents are united in effort as they make bread, dessert and soap, as well as open a craft restaurant together. They all believe that one day, the business they establish will be able to give back to society. Shanghai, the Jingsi Books and Cafe was invited to set up a stall at the local entrepreneur training seminar from the 28th to the 30th of July to promote Tzu Chi's humanitarian spirit. Meanwhile, in Xiamen's Jingsi Books and Cafe, a storytelling workshop was held for 40 parents and children to teach them about recycling and vegetarianism. Tzu Chi volunteers in China's Xiamen are holding an environmental seminar at the local Jingsi Books and Cafe, where they also seize the opportunity to promote vegetarianism.
A simple meal of vegetables and tofu is healthy for our body and is easier to digest.
Taking on a meatless diet solves constipation problems, and it is easy to digest.
Apart from eating healthy, volunteers also encourage students to sort recyclables. At the fourth lesson of the seminar, parents already see great improvements in their children.
Before, we had a lot of soft drinks at home, but now, when he sees other people drinking, he will say, "Mom, shall we pick it up and give it to Tzu Chi?" I will say yes and encourage him. Some of the things that I don't think of doing, he's doing it better than me.
In Shanghai, Tzu Chi volunteers were invited to share their experiences of the NGO at a training seminar for entrepreneurs.
Whenever corporations or educational groups give us a chance, we must seize that opportunity.
Volunteers also speak of the poverty gap they saw as they carried out charity work throughout the country.
In the video clip, I saw people having to travel to and from mountain areas for 3 hours just to carry water for their family to use every day.
Everyone's perspective and value towards life may be different. However, it is through Tzu Chi that these businessmen are inspired to cherish what they have. The Jingsi Books and Cafe has 52 stores in Taiwan and 37 stores overseas. Each overseas branch incorporates the local culture, yet still embodies the fundamentals of the Jingsi Books and Cafe, which is providing a tranquil place for those seeking solace in an otherwise busy society.
In New York City, one of the most populated cities in the United States, you can find some peace simply by walking into a Jingsi Books and Cafe.
We are providing them with a quiet place to sit down and recharge their souls.
The Jingsi Books and Cafe in Jakarta, Indonesia is located inside a busy shopping mall where all are welcome.
We're located inside a shopping mall to be near the community so more people can join us.
The location of China's first Jingsi Books and Cafe in Suzhou was previously the house of the Wu family, who also helped out many in its time.
Huadong is a financially developed city. Humanitarianism can help to eliminate the soul's negative thoughts.
Each of the Jingsi Books and Cafe located overseas is special in their own way. Yet, at their core, each provides us with the same feeling.
The bookstore gives us a pure and sincere feeling.
The first ever Jingsi Books and Cafe opened in the heart of Georgetown in Penang, Malaysia, a peaceful and tranquil location in the middle of the hustle and bustle of the city. The prayer service at 1:30 is many office workers' time to recharge.
As pointed out by Master Zheng Yan, it's important to not compare and contrast.
Wise man always says to us to use our hearts when we do things. This is unforgettable.
The Zen-like atmosphere and books attracts those seeking a place to relax, like Peter from Australia.
Come in here and relax and be peaceful is really quite pleasant.
Here in Indonesia, the Jingsi Books and Cafe is located inside a shopping mall. They hold many courses, the most popular class being Chinese class.
At the Jingsi Books and Cafe in Jakarta, 50% of the students study Chinese are Muslims.
Every Wednesday there's Chinese class. Saturday is knitting. My mother likes knitting, so I came along with her to learn it. In China's Suzhou, the Jingsi Books and Cafe here is one not to miss, with its historical building and tranquil courtyard.
The Jingsi Books and Cafe seedling started in Suzhou, and from here it gave way for opportunity to spread to other cities. We're spreading the seeds of love.
What originally was a place of nurturing scholars has become the mentoring ground for the seeds of love.
We're not only here in the bookstore, but also out in the community with the volunteers, making new friends.
Located on the busy streets of Flushing, New York of the United States, this bookstore is a home away from home for those living overseas.
Everything here is imported from Taiwan. You can buy our stuff elsewhere.
I can talk to the customers, and that makes me happy. Jingsi Books and Cafe is a humanitarian staple worldwide that uses the universal language of a friendly smile.
Next, we meet the general manager of a Taiwanese corporation, Lin Xu-Chu, who, regardless of his busy schedule, used his spare time to attend spiritual workshops held by the Jingsi Books and Cafe. Let's take a look.
This Jingsi aphorism is great, and the design and layout are great too. It has pictures.
With a tablet PC in his hands, this is Lin Xu-Chu's treasure chest of wisdom.
Great love is when one gives selflessly, without purpose or desire. This phrase is very useful.
In spite of his busy schedule, the general manager of the Tima Group, Lin Xu-Chu, still takes his time to read through more than 600 electronic Jingsi aphorisms.
Before, I was a persistent person. Now I'm willing to listen to other opinions. I keep reminding myself that when our minds are calm and not restless, our path to life will be wider.
The Jingsi Books and Cafe has inspired Lin to open his heart.
If you create good affinity with others, you cultivate blessings. If you create bad affinity with others, you accumulate bad karma.
At the spiritual seminars, volunteers share with everyone their stories. 3 years ago, after attending a spiritual workshop, Lin found a new perspective of life.
When they share their experiences, you can see the happiness on their faces. You can see the happiness of unselfish giving. This is the true beauty of a person.
A notebook filled with notes, this is the wisdom that Lin has collected over the years. After attending the spiritual seminar hosted by Tzu Chi Global Volunteer Coordinator Huang Sixian, Lin says he was able to directly feel the compassionate heart of Master Zhen Yan.
I admire Master Zhen Yan because she is a very hands-on person. When listening to her, you can feel that everything she says, she can do. It really moved me.
Inside Lin Xu-Chu's office, one sees books published by Tzu Chi. Lin says the books are filled with Master Zhen Yan's wisdom, and it is good reading for him or others.
I try to create a good affinity with my co-workers, distributors, and customers. I like to give them Jingsi aphorism books, so when they face difficulties, they can read them. I find that whenever I flip through the book, it will guide me.
With a humble attitude, the atmosphere of the company is filled with happiness.
When you interact with others, if you can keep in mind the concept of respect and forgiveness, then it is easier to get along with everyone. Of course, I'm still at the learning stage.
In the United States, the recently opened Jingsu Books and Cafe in San Diego, California, has been closely working with the local Trash for Teaching Center in hopes of using the center's cast offs and collected trash in the design and construction of the bookstore. Here's more.
Barrel after barrel is filled to the brim with cast-offs and discarded parts. For interior designer Li Chen-Yo, however, this place is heaven.
What I'm here today is to find alternative materials that I could use to build a platform or a short stand to put our merchandise on.
Trash for Teaching is a non-profit organization which specializes in accepting used and unwanted cast-offs from businesses and manufacturers.
This is Costco eyeglass parts, about 2 million little objects for you to go through. Everything is rescued in one way or another, and when we get something that we have too many of and we don't know how to store it, we end up turning them into walls and storage containers and art installations, right?
Among the artwork is a model of Icarus, the Greek boy who flew too close to the sun. It was said that his 2 wings were made with feathers and candle wax, but here his wings are made with unwanted color cards.
It was started about 8 years ago by Steve and Kathy Stanton, and they're manufacturers. So for about 30 years they've been manufacturing in and around downtown LA. And through the manufacturing process, they learned that there's just so much waste that's perfectly clean, usable, safe trash, but is still going into landfills because it's just not worth people's time or their energy to do anything with it. This is a local knitting factory. So these are the thread spools.
Build them as a partition or some kind of art landscape.
Yeah, topography would be beautiful.
Yeah, maybe Halloween costume. There's so many possibilities with these things.
In addition to giving unwanted items from manufacturers to artists to create with, the center also works closely with schools to educate children and help create a community-wide chain of sustainable living.
On the count of 3. Okay. 3, 2, 1. I think our largest impact will be that we change mindsets so that people stop from the beginning and say, wow, there's a whole nother generation of raw materials and natural resources around us that is potentially the next generation of building blocks and ingredients.
In 2002, the first Jingsu Books and Cafe was established in Taipei's Xinyi district. Over the years, the bookstore has helped countless busy city dwellers find spiritual serenity. As we celebrate the 10th birthday of Jingsu Books and Cafe, a humanitarian event was held on Tuesday, August 7, where thousands of participants arrived to show their support. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for tuning in. Goodbye.